Well, you found that home that you have really set your heart on, but you don't have enough income maybe to qualify, or maybe the tax returns aren't a good source of income for that mortgage you're trying to secure. So, what are the alternatives? Do you have alternatives? Well, the good news is you do. We're going to talk with Bill Litton at Cross Country Mortgage about what those are coming up now. Hello and welcome in. This is the Smart Mortgage Show. I'm Ben George with Bill Litton, Regional President at Cross Country Mortgage. Find everything we do online at smartmortgageshow.com. Bill, today's topic, alternative lending. This one's a little bit out of my range, I guess. I feel like I can kind of keep up with you in a lot of spots and conversations we talk about, but today's a little bit different for me. But I'm curious to learn, so this should be a good topic.
Yeah, and Ben, because it's a unique scenario that these cater to, and these types of loans were not available for a long time. After the subprime crisis, you had just very specific loan types and full income verification in like 99.99% of the loans that were written. And then they started to come out with this new product that we call non-QM. So a non-qualified mortgage, which is an alternative form of lending. It's not subprime lending, because in subprime lending, you did not need to verify any ability to repay the loan. With all of these sources, we need to develop a method and a formula to be able to show a borrower's ability to repay. Now, when these loans first came out, they were very hard to qualify. The rates were, the market kind of had to find its balance and find its place with these loans. And we certainly have as a company. So Cross Country Mortgage, we are all in on this non-QM alternative type lending. And we're helping a lot of people with this type of financing.
Good. And hopefully somebody that found this video has an interest, maybe it finds himself in that situation, and hopefully can get some good takeaways from this episode and maybe have a little more optimism about their options and availability of securing that mortgage moving forward. So again, as we get into this, any questions, feel free to drop a comment down below. We'll check those out, but also log on smartmortgageshow.com. So when we talk about income, Bill, what are just some common scenarios that would kind of put you in this position where your income or your tax returns aren't a great source to prove your income?
Yeah. So I think that one of the best examples would be, let's just say that you're a bartender or you're a server, you work at a restaurant, you get a lot of tips and you don't claim the tips, which is very common, right? Well, that's great from a tax standpoint, but how do you qualify for a mortgage, especially if the tips are 50% of your income?
Right.
So there's a loan that actually helps with that. So it's a loan where we use a verification of employment from the employer. In this case, it might be a restaurant, and the restaurant owner, right? They understand the situation. We know how much this person makes. It's just that, we use tax returns as a form of calculating income, but it's not always the best form, especially in cases where we're using income that's not taxed. So to get a truer picture of the income, we might use a verification of employment loan. It's a VO, we call it a written VOE, verification of employment loan. And in that case, the owner or the payroll person or the HR person would fill out in there how long they've worked there and what their true income is. We can actually use that as their income.
That's pretty helpful then. Yeah, because I would imagine anybody kind of working in those fields, hospitality fields, there's probably times when, the tips and that money makes up greater than 50% probably in a lot of cases. So it can be very tough to prove that. So I guess then what alternative lending options are available then? What are some of the things that you can offer for someone that finds themselves in that position? Because I know it can be maybe feel a little hopeless at times.
Yeah. And the big thing is like, look, if you have gotten turned down or you have questions or you just call us, talk to us, let's talk through it. Let's see if there's a way to work through it to figure out a way to get you approved. I'll give you another example. Recently, I was working with a a person who is a real estate investor and they have a real estate investment company. Now, the tax returns for that real estate investor, they have a ton of write-offs, so it's hard for them to qualify. We help them buy $1 million house, but instead of using the tax returns, we use their business bank statements, because the bank statements show all the money coming into the business, right? It's just that after all the expenses and the deductions, does that bottom number, that net number, if it's too small, and that's what a standard, conventional mortgage uses to qualify, it's going to be hard for someone especially if it's a newer business and there's lots of write-offs. But we know that the cash flows are sufficient to support the mortgage payment, and therefore we use the bank statements instead of the tax returns to qualify. So we just help somebody purchase $1 million home using bank statements for their business rather than their tax returns.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's just kind of proof to why a good mortgage lender can be such a valuable person to have on your team, because you can run through some of these options. And I'm assuming that, Bill, you've probably come across a lot of these different scenarios, so you've probably seen a lot of things that people probably haven't even thought about before. But you've seen these scenarios, you've worked through them, so you kind of know they're not new to you, I guess.
Yeah, they're not new to us, because our process is we always go with conventional lending, FHA lending, standard jumbo lending. So we basically have a formula that says check those first because they offer the best rates and terms. If it doesn't fit there, our process is then to see, does it fit into one of these non-QM alternative type lending programs? And because we do that normally and naturally, yes, we are very good at fitting people, home buyers or people looking to refinance, into one of these programs.
What are some of the other methods maybe that you've seen pop up or that might be of interest to someone in this situation?
So Ben, here's the one I got a lot,
Okay.
and it was very frustrating that I couldn't help this person, but now we can help this specific scenario. Is I've got $2 million in the bank, but I don't want to use that money. I want to borrow $500,000, but I don't have any income. I'm not old enough. I don't have a pension. I'm not old enough for Social Security. I don't have retirement income. I did really well, and right now I want to buy a house, and I don't have monthly income. Well, we can base their income. We can develop an income number off of the $2 million, right, asset portfolio that they have. So that would be basically an asset qualifier loan. That's a really good option. Also, we have a loan that is based off of the profit and loss statement rather than the tax return. So looking at a P&L, that's a really good way to qualify someone, again, where the tax returns just don't show enough income. Also, an investor cash flow loan where it's a real estate investor and they don't have enough income on their own. A lot of times a new real estate investor, maybe this is all they do. Well, we need to qualify this investment loan on the merits of the property that they're buying and the rental income of just that property on its own by itself, without any extra, employment or retirement or any other income source. So investor cash flow loan, which is also known as a DSCR loan. Those loans, we do a lot with those. Again, if it doesn't fit to the normal portfolio, we're moving to this type of product.
So I guess it's just one of those situations where if you're in the market for a new home, maybe you found a property that you're very interested in, but you are worried about, okay, I got to go in and sit down with my lender and try to show them that I have income coming in, but I know that I might be lacking there traditionally. This is one of those where you just want to come sit down, have a conversation, and begin just letting someone like yourself, Bill, across country, learn more about the situation, discuss what options are available, and just really just start having that conversation to truly dive into what might actually work for you.
Yeah. And I think that, a big piece of it, Ben, is just the fear that you're not going to get pre-approved. So look, sometimes it doesn't fit into any of the available products, right? There are people that right now are just not lendable, but what we will do is give you a plan, because it's never a no, it's more of a when. If I can't do it today, here's the step-by-step plan to get you in a position to be able to buy a house. So don't be afraid. Let's take the lid off this thing. Let's look under the hood. Let's see where you're at and figure out a plan to get, because if you don't qualify today, there's a really good chance you're still going to want to buy a house in a year or two. And usually within a year or two, no matter where you are, we can figure out how to make the financing work.
Well, I really like that. It's not a no, it's a win. It's a matter of when. So if you want to begin that process and have that free 15-minute loan consultation, you can always get in touch with Bill now, 484-352-4151, or online, smartmortgageshow.com. You can get in touch that way as well. But take advantage of that free 15-minute mortgage and loan consultation. You can begin having conversations just like this about what options are available to you. All right, Bill, any final thoughts on this before we wrap it up?
Yeah, again, it's just reach out. Let's have a conversation. Let's see where it leads, and hopefully we'll have a solution for you either now or in the very near future. But please reach out. We're always happy to hear from you, always willing to answer questions and try and help you achieve your goal of buying a house.
Well, we appreciate you watching. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do. We have a weekly video we put out on mortgage and loan and home buying conversations. So if that's of interest to you, or you know someone that would be interested in this conversation, please pass our channel along to them. But for Bill Litton, Regional President at Cross Country Mortgage with this office there in Chaddsford, Pennsylvania, I am Ben George. We appreciate you joining us this week. Talk to you soon. This program is for informational purposes only. Please consult a qualified professional before taking any action. Bill Litton is a loan advisor and regional president with Cross Country Mortgage, NMLS number 147060.